Greetings, everybody, and a very warm welcome to the Jane Live Miracle Medicine, where we discuss case studies, we discuss what's going on currently in the practice here at 365 Healthy by Choice in Bryanston and globally, and we look at the transformation of people as they shift from illness to wellness. Remember, it's no use being symptom-free but still ill. There's a very big difference between the illness to wellness, and this is what we achieve, and virtually every single time. If people are willing, they'll get there. So it's really a marvelous place to be, and thank you for joining us and coming in and being part of all the wonderful work that we're doing. And I know also in the audience too, there are many people who have our testimony and case studies to the wonderful work that we're doing. So welcome again. You can see behind me in the cupboards. I decided to use this room today, but it's loaded with copper, silver, nickel, a little bit of gold, and other a bit of brass as well, and also around me, I've been placing objects, cut glass, which is got a high lead content in it. And so at any time of the day, there's reflection, and I'm getting all the colors visible coming through. So this year is about glorifying everything. It's about authenticity, it's about shine, it's about sparkle, and that would be from inside and outside of all of us. So as we continue with our precious metal mineral discussions and get deeper into it, I'm going to be bringing through some Rudolf Steiner concepts today, which we'll build on as we go. And he spoke a lot about the metals and the planets and disease, and he even brings in color as well. So I'm going to be sharing a lot of that with you, and as with all truths, you will find similar things across other wise sages that have been around and speak about all of these wonderful things. So just to kick off with, I was chatting to one of my friends, and we were looking at all the copper and we were looking at the silver, and I said to her, you know, there's a huge abundance here. We were looking at the cut glass, and she said, Jane, it's breathtaking. And I said to her, you know, you're absolutely 100% right about all of this. It is breathtaking. And then she proceeded to tell me, as we take that in breath, it then works on our perception. And then we can manifest with imagination and inspiration. And I thought that was very profound. And I then thought also that, well, the deeper and the more breathtaking something is from a vibrational point of view, the higher the manifestation. So I've been a bit quiet in this month, but I've been, you could say, raising the space where I live to a much higher vibrational level, and I've been bringing in the earthly metals, wood, glass. I've just also felt it necessary to ground myself more than ever before. So I've really enjoyed this aspect, and you know, just the cellular shift and the shift in consciousness. So we need to be part of and have around us breathtaking things. So, you know, if one girl invited me to go and meet her somewhere for breakfast, whatever, she said, where? So I said, just choose a breathtaking place, please. So, you know, things like that. But anyway, we have a lot of fun. So what I want to look at today is the nickel in particular, and nickel and cobalt go together with iron, and iron is a Martian element. Okay, this is one person's view, Rudolf Steiner, all right? So he very cleverly linked through anthroposophical medicine ways of healing people with the anthroposophical preparations, and included many metals. So, you know, copper and iron and cobalt and nickel and so on, and all had a specific place. and a disease area. So let's have a look and see some of the things I just wanted to share with you. And I'm not going to be very long because I'm just finding my eyes are taking a lot of strain with the glare. all the years of webinars and things. So okay, let's kick off with our starting page, and where we're looking at raw nickel. And I put the cut glass in just to give you a glimpse of, you know, all the colors are there, and it just takes my breath away too. So there's our opening, and the precious metal minerals and their secrets. So these deeper secrets are coming from the more meaningful, wise people, not just face value, from a disease point of view, but also from a universal point of view. So nickel and cobalt are siblings of iron. And what Rudolf Steiner does is looks at the 7 metals that the ancients connected to the 5 planets, the sun and the moon. All right. So iron would be connected to Mars, and nickel and cobalt. And, you know, nickel is often used in weapons. So you can see directly through our own gut feel, our inspiration, our intuition, we use the certain metals that we're warring to effect. Copper is ruled by Venus, planet of love. Silver, the moon. Tin by Jupiter. Gold always holds its central position. Mercury would be the planet Mercury, and also known as Quicksilver. And then lead would be governed by Saturn. So along the way, we've talked about various of these precious metal minerals that are superconductors. And that would be the gold, the silver, the copper, and the gold. Yeah, so silver, then copper, then gold in terms of conductivity. We've talked about, you know, where to find these precious metal minerals in the Ormus Gold elixir that we have, which is an alchemical preparation from salt, as well as in eating utensils, weapons, jewelry, and I'll show you some more a little bit along the way. So as we proceed, I'm now bringing in this element of the properties of the metals regarding the planets, and also you will see regarding disease. So here we have something I also posted earlier, and this is fascinating because you can actually see the interrelationship of the various metals, and we'll go into it in a lot more detail as we go through as well. But for example, you see zinc and calcium. So, you know, if you shoot your zinc level up, you're going to affect your calcium level. Just for example, you know, there's the sodium potassium link, and that's critical. The sodium potassium pump outside the cell membrane is actually critical to the pathway and passage of oxygen and food into the cell and waste out. So, you know, selenium and arsen, you know, mixed. I think I got it right. Yeah, selenium and arsen, complementary, but also, you know, should be in balance completely. And there's our iron with its relation to zinc, with its relation to manganese, with its relation to copper, which we know already, with its relation to phosphorus. So, you know, each one has got lots of phosphorus in particular, calcium in particular, have got lots and lots of interactions. But I just want to say at this point, to observe vitamins, minerals in a reductionist way is very old paradigm, and it's not how we work in quantum medicine. It's not how we work in the new paradigm of medicine and healing and our quantum view of life. So in order to get your mineral balance right, you need to use natural sources. So for example, with plants, we will put volcanic rock dust, zeolite in the human form, but we'll put volcanic rock dust into the soil so that the plant can balance itself automatically. Take what it wants, leave what it doesn't want. And that's really my philosophy at 365 Healthy by Choice as well. Let's give the human the equivalent of volcanic rock dust in a stress defense shield form, for example, with over 30 nutrients, and bring in all the 3 algae, blue-green chlorella spirulina. Bring in the 6 medicinal mushrooms, the chaga, reishi, cordyceps, etc. Bring in the schizandra berries, the adaptogens, all also carrying trace minerals, mineral metals, all in an Ormus state. And then let the body choose what it wants, when it wants, and in which form. So, for example, a spirulina might contain iron bound in a certain way, whereas in a reishi mushroom, it might be bound in a slightly different way, and that's the one the body needs right now. So rather remove the guesswork and don't try and design a vitamin or mineral supplement, because that's just man-made. And most of those minerals are, and vitamins in particular, are synthetic. Man-made too. So what happens if you feed soil NPK, for example, left over from gunpowder? Eventually there will be deficiencies and imbalances in the soil and in the plant, and when you eat it, you will become imbalanced too. So if we go back to our table with all the mineral interactions, the best way to get these in is to use natural sources of minerals, okay, which would be an Ormus Gold. Ormus, should be in our food. It's not exactly. You can breathe Ormus Gold in when there's at the sea and forests. You would use the super nutrient dense foods most definitely. When you breathe the air, the cosmic dust coming down also contains minerals. And then, of course, if you touch the precious metals, the nickel, the silver, the gold, the copper, it's going to rub off through your skin. Many people, that's why we're also wearing jewelry. And if you boil the kettle and pour it into a pure silver teapot and make tea, the silver will go into the water. It will alkalinize the water. I just need a battery. Hold on. This has got to go in the back. All right, sorry about that. So we're having a lot of fun. Remember, we spoke about silver needs heat to activate the water, to make the water alkaline, and to make the water bacteriostatic, fungistatic, and against every other things that are also lurking around there as well. So silver is activated by heat, whereas copper is toxic with heat. So any copper pots that have a lining are genuine. That is how you cook with copper. So the copper will radiate from the outside, but it doesn't touch the food because heated copper is toxic. Whereas a copper vessel with water at room temperature put into it will activate and become alkaline, also kill bacteria, funguses, boost the immune system, work on displacement of fat out of the cells into the blood to get rid of and disposed of, work on the brain, the nervous system, the gut. So we've been having a lot of fun, and it really does work because you can see the effect on your skin, your elimination patterns, and so on. So there are different ways to get these precious metal minerals into us, and that includes nickel and cobalt, which are almost precious metal minerals as well. Okay, and I read today that there are traces of gold in copper. So the quite old copper, I'll show you an example. This is about a 17th century copper pot. It's a rose copper. And there's a lot of gold naturally occurring in this rose copper. And in fact, from a health point of view, copper is more important than gold, according to Rudolf Steiner. So, you know, then we've got the nickel. So this is nickel. This is a nickel tin holder, which was originally silver plated. And then through cleaning and everything, the silver gets washed off and you're left with nickel. All right. And it's got a beautiful shine and closely linked to the silver. We also get, you know, the utensils also were silver plated, and then again also with wear, the silver would be going to the mouth and the silver would come off. And then, you know, we're left with the nickel again. And I've shown you some of these before. I think this is a nickel bangle. And this is made by a sub-Saharan tribe that came and was trained and came out of Egypt, a Coptic tribe, and they called the Tuaregs, and they use a lot of nickel in their jewelry. In fact, this is also Tuareg jewelry. It's very lightly silver plated, and you know, the nickel comes through quite vividly as well. So it's got an amazing shine. I can see I'm catching it quite well. All right, so that's also nickel. And then the same Tuareg group of people, you know, these are some of the bracelets. And in here, you can take your magnet and you'll see there's no iron. So the nickel and the silver, cobalt, platinum, are all naturally occurring in this jewelry. So, you know, I mean, the thing about metals is not new. Our ancients used a lot of metal in their everyday life. And it's just interesting that we're not using water from copper vessels anymore. We're not using silver cutlery, or at least plated silver cutlery. And, you know, the rest of it, our metals are at a very low level. So we should think back and see the value in what our ancestors did. And this also brings to mind, in about 1950, we shifted away from leather-soled shoes to plastic rubber-soled tackies, trainers. And you can see the incidence of diabetes, which is an inflammatory disease. Literally, the trajectory is like that. You can find that in the Earthing book by Chris Oberholzer, and showing us that our disconnection from the earth has led to inflammation. So our disconnection from eating. Now, when we eat, and I mentioned it last time, this is a superconductor, and it's alive and it's authentic. There's a connection between our hands and the food. But now if you're going to bring in stainless steel, it's just not a conductor at all. You see, so this is the difference. Okay, so let's have a look again at our big wheel here. And I'm learning more and more and more about this all the time. But my main reason for putting this in here is not to go and rush out. If you are nickel deficient or iron deficient or whatever, if you go and run out and buy iron, you're going to be indirectly affecting all of these. Your phosphorus, your zinc, your manganese, and your copper. So the best thing to do would be to go and get very mineral dense foods and let the body sort it out. Organic mineral dense foods and let the body sort it out. You see, when you take iodine there, if you're low in iodine, there's a possibility that the cobalt is low and that the calcium is low, you know. So okay, this is from the quantum skio, Educta or QUEXED, and these are just some of the precious metal minerals that Professor Desiree Dubonnet added to this very extensive list of metal minerals. So you can see a lot of them were listed on that wheel. But in particular, here are the precious metal minerals, not iron, but the rest. And they all occur in the Ormus Gold plus more. It's good to keep a look at that cobalt. Anemia, immunity. So, you would then go and Google the foods that are high in cobalt, and you probably find everything else is in the right dimension and mix for you as nature would have it, as opposed to running and finding a bottle of cobalt. I just think it's just nonsensical to do that. It's just reductionist, and the consequences of that. All right, so then we have a look at our platinum precious metal minerals, okay? And here they all are here, which are in the Ormus Gold, and we need all of these. Okay, and the precious metal minerals are the ones that are less susceptible to atmospheric effects, oxidation, tarnishing, water. So these are the ones that make the grade there. All right, here's some raw nickel in the raw form. And I'm going to be talking about the green part in a moment as well, because you often find the green gemstones will absorb nickel and iron. The infusion, they get infused. All right, so here's some information there. Nickel and cobalt are the iron Mars-governed planets. They combine in nature to form meteorites. I found that really interesting. Lots goes on in that galaxy out there without us knowing, let me tell you. And the planetary influence is Mars. Nickel and cobalt are more resistant to atmospheric influences, so they're basically almost precious minerals. Major deposits of iron around the world are not rich in nickel and cobalt, so that's interesting. The green stones, which I showed you, which contain olivine, absorb the metal infusions of nickel, cobalt, chromium, and the platinum precious metals. So I just think also of, for example, malachite that's got a load of copper in it. The green stones with olivine and have a load of the nickel and the cobalt and the chromium. And just to talk about nickel toxicity, a lot of people some people can't wear nickel jewelry, anything with nickel in it. So silver plated or any of these Tuareg jewelries, they wouldn't be able to wear. They do get a reaction to that. So that does happen. You can get an excess, but that's very rare. Deficiencies are also rare. So nickel has the affinity for plants, for magnesium, for the formation of chlorophyll and the plant growth, whereas cobalt is more for the growth of animals, and it's more direct effect on iron and hemoglobin. And cobalt has got responsible for cyanogen, which you find in B12. And then it's the blue pigment. And then the role of nickel. Nickel plays a major role in helping the body absorb the iron it needs. Very important. We know copper also does that. So, the body is interconnected, interrelated. It's not the blood's on its own, the thyroid's on its own. It's completely integrated and interdependent. So we can't, again, just rush out and buy nickel or rush out and buy iron, because it's such an intricate, very specialized mechanism of millions of pathways that are necessary at a certain time, at certain stages, in the development and the absorption of iron, the formation of iron, etc. But the chlorophyll molecule and the hemoglobin molecule are virtually identical. The difference is that the chlorophyll has a magnesium in the middle and the hemoglobin has an iron molecule in the middle. So through alchemy and through mineral interaction, when we consume plant material, that magnesium is moved out and iron is created, bonds itself or whatever. So that's the big shift. That's the big difference. So I always say to people who are low in iron to eat green food, because that's where you're going to find loads of iron. Spinach, kale, those foods. All right. Now the role of nickel. Okay, prevents conditions such as anemia. Well, it would if it's helping with the iron absorption and building a strong skeletal frame, strengthening the bones, assisting in the breakdown of glucose. Very interesting. And breakdown of glucose needs to be at a certain pace. If it's too quick, we get a spike in glucose. Helps create energy for daily use. It's present in the DNA and RNA, which means it's found in every single cell of the human body. It contributes to the production of certain enzymes that initiate important chemical reactions, such as the development of the nucleic acids. So the nucleic acids are uracil, guanine, thymine, adenine, cytosine, which make up the RNA DNA complement. So nickel is very important for the production of enzymes that initiate these important reactions and for weak and brittle bones. So wonderful. That's why I think the Ormus Gold works so well, because it's definitely nickel rich. So food, fish, chocolate, I would say raw chocolate there, oatmeal are 3 of the most nickel rich foods available. Nuts, peas, beans, and grains. It's believed that foods prepared in stainless steel cookware may absorb greater amounts of nickel than initially contained, and that would be probably one of the ways that a sort of a balance was created due to the non-conductivity of stainless steel, the inertness. It's flat, it doesn't have superconductivity at all. So maybe that's the reason. Interestingly enough, also, cigarette smoke contains a calculable amount of nickel. Studies have shown that a small amount of nickel can be absorbed through the skin by handling coins. So I wouldn't go too much into that thing about the cigarette smoke, but definitely touching coins and touching utensils that have got nickel are definitely, eating with utensils that are silver plated with nickel are definitely going to bring up your nickel levels. You can always test your nickel metal levels using the quantum skio eductor QUEX. And certain groups of vitamins also contain in nickel, for example, B12, that will contain cobalt, as I said already. All right, deficiencies, we need a very small amount. It's not often, but people who do tend to have nickel deficiency also suffer from kidney problems, cirrhosis of the liver, and have a B6 deficiency. In fact, I saw a lady today with a very severe vitamin B6 deficiency, and in fact, she's still on the quantum device. I should go and have a sneak look and see what her nickel levels are and let you know. Okay. Symptoms of nickel deficiency can range from urinary tract infections, allergies, and skin rashes. So you see, but we can't just run out and buy one mineral. We need to, rebalance the homeostasis of the body. We can get paralysis and alongside inflammation of the liver and the lungs. Nickel excesses. Nickel plays an important role in nutrition. Although at a high toxic level, allergy reactions, digestive problems, red blood cell count, and kidney failure and lungs. So you see, it's all linked to do with some organs here. And as I said to you, remove the nickel jewelry if that's irritating it, if it's adding to the problem. And that also indicates to us that nickel in the jewelry will definitely get absorbed into the body, as I was saying. And foods that are nickel rich, or chocolate and fish, I'm not going to get too far there. All right. And then remember that these precious metal minerals are in the 365 products, not only because of the Ormus Gold, but because of the superfood nutrient dense nature of these foods, as opposed to lettuce and tomato and general cheese, for example. So the Ormus Gold I've talked to you about. And, you know, this is a product that I revere every single day. I have a very special cut glass, and I pour the Ormus Gold about a tablespoon. Sometimes, some days I take 3 tablespoons a day in divided doses. And you pour that into the water. It mixes immediately, and it's delicious, almost sweet tasting. And then I know that I'm getting a large dose of superconductors, but they're not in the physical form. I'm not getting nickel in this form. I'm getting it in the M state, Orm form, which is on its own. It's not, there are no bonds. So it's completely free. When you consume it, the atoms literally, the M state, minerals, metals, just go to in the body where they need to go. So it's a very, very special product. It's the hallmark of 365 Healthy by Choice. And, you know, the copper, the effects on the bones. So whilst we're saying here that nickel is important for bone and skeletal structure, so is copper, so is gold, so is silver, so is iridium, palladium, rhodium, etc. They're all important. They're important for all the enzymatic processes. They're important to ward off degenerative cells, cancer cells. So we need it in the right combination, in a nature-made combination as opposed to man-made. Enough said on that. And then we've got the Stress Defense Shield with over 30 nutrients. I'll show you pictures in a moment. The stem cells, which has got the top 5. I'll show you pictures of that. The medicinal mushrooms, the algae, the pollens. Let's have a quick look. Here are the Stress Defense Shield with the brain fuel and the extreme performance boost smoothies or capsules. They have the same base, identical. The brain fuel's got some more oxygen carrying natural herbs in it, and the extreme performance boost has got some extra bone and joint type of products for quick alkalinization and lactic acid removal and alkaline restoration and bone restore. Yeah. Okay, so we've got that. Okay, they're piled with minerals, readily available. Okay, they don't need to be metabolized. The stem cells got the top 5: mineral dense, nutrient dense, blue-green algae, royal jelly, cordyceps, lion's mane, and phytoadaptogenic herb. Here all the mixes are. They're all on the site. You can go and have a look. Here's our copper. Within 6 to 8 hours, we have alkaline water that's basically kills bacteria and funguses, boosts immunity, assists in the mobilization of fat out of cells, which is very important. Iron formation, hemoglobin carrying. Why do we need iron? Iron carries oxygen, okay? So it's critical. So we have all different dispensers and vessels. It's all on the website. You can go and have a look and read. And then our AcuPoint finger rollers, these are gold and silver plated. And they will, as you roll it over your finger, you roll it over the various AcuPoints. Let me show you here what I mean. I think, yeah. So here we've got all sorts of AcuPoints for lungs and digestion. And you can self-medicate there quite nicely. It's quite fun, actually. It's a kind of a massage for the fingers too. And, you know, shoulder pain and migraines and skin and acne and so on. All right, so there is the 365 healthybychoiceshop.com online shop where we have everything sitting there. So I'm just hope that I've inspired you all to have a new creative look at metal and even tin. Tin is one of the 7 metals Rudolf Steiner used from a planetary point of view. All right, so every metal has its role. It comes out of Mother Earth, and wow, you know, look at the kind of things we have today, and many of these can be restored. You know, you go to any an on-selling shop and you can actually restore this. It's a lot of fun, and you know, by touching the metal, it's going into you. Okay. Well, of course, the minerals don't exist out there on their own, but they're the first step, because I always say that we need to get the body charged. We need to get the body conducting. All right, the neurotransmitters firing, and minerals do that. Minerals sort the skin out. the digestive processes, everything. Then we come in with the readily absorbable proteins for growth and development, and then certain carbohydrates for fuel, oil for fuel, and also for membrane restoration. So that's it. That's what we're going to talk about. Go and find your ancestors' knives and forks, get them out, put your stainless steel ones aside, and enjoy the minerals. We'll more next week. Bye.